Angel, before you start, this is actually, you could barely see it. This had the big U on it, but it was the first generation of the big U. And I've had this shirt so long that it looks like a black t-shirt, but it actually
Mhm.
had the big U on it at one time. Guys, listen, before we get started, if you see promote to panelists, we're in a webinar format. And in a webinar format, we promote you to panelists. That means you can come on, you could share, we could see you, you could speak. If you just stay where you are now in the panel, you're just going to be able to watch and everything else. You can participate. But if you have any questions or anything, you're not going to be able to do that. Lynn, I'm trying to get you in, and the 201 number trying to get you in, but it's up to you. Now it's the ball's in your court. Angel, we're going to hand it off to you for Empower Hour.
Sure. Welcome, guys, to Empower Hour every single Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. We are live, except next Monday, we're in Jamaica, so we will not be live.
But we're
But
going to do something. We're
we'll
going to
do
do something. So
something.
stay tuned. Stay
I
tuned.
don't think we
Peg will be up
can.
that
We're
late.
we're at the unless if we broadcast from the lagoon, because we're
I
at the
think that would
lagoon
be
at that
cool.
time.
That
That
would
would
be
be
cool.
cool. That would be
Yep,
very
you'll be
cool.
able to see my butt swimming in the bioluminescent lagoon.
All right. We're excited to have you guys here tonight. Just for those of you who may be new to here or on the live or on the recordings, this is a training for network marketers that we bring to give to anybody in any business, in any company, in anything. Maybe you're in your 10th company, maybe you're just taking a look at your first company, maybe you're just kind of taking a look at somebody who's here on this screen and looking at possibly joining them, and they've invited you here, and we welcome you. This is a safe place to bring your people. We encourage anybody, if you do come out and speak or share, let's not talk about our companies. I know some people go to another call after this for their products and stuff, but we try to keep this very neutral so that we can really expand and go into, bring training into the profession that is really needed, right? We love doing the training. We come with a lot of expertise and success, and we want to share that with you guys. I want to celebrate Peg because she's just on fire this week, and she's enrolling like crazy before going to Jamaica. I think she's just showing off. So congratulations, Peg, because you're doing fantastic. Yeah. It's awesome to see that and see your success. And Danny's opening up countries and bringing in people and taking up our time on Saturday nights and just bringing in Alexi and all of that. So it's been really great. Congratulations, guys. So tonight we want to share with you guys a training that we were talking about. We kind of, between the three of us, decided on a topic tonight that I think is really important. And the energy that you bring into the time that you're putting into your work is so crucial. Um, we don't really think of that enough. We think, hey, if I can just get this done, if I can just get in. We talk a lot about the 5/5. And if you haven't seen that training, ask any of us for that. We'll get you a recording. We talk about our DMO, our daily method of operation, but what is the energy level that you're coming in with? And what is the expectation that you're coming in with? And what are you, I put on social media and in text, I put, are you expecting success or are you expecting failure? Because a lot of times if we're just fitting something in because we know we have to do it, we're coming in with such a negative energy that you may as well not even do it, to be honest, right? When you come in with that expectation for this isn't going to work, I'm just going to do this because I know I have to. It's great that you're taking the action, but the energy behind the action is actually really felt on the other side of those conversations, of those social posts, of that 5/5 activity, of how you come across to somebody. I know myself for the first few years in business, I came across desperate because I was, right? I fell so in love with this profession and I wanted it to work so bad. And I saw so many people having incredible success that I became desperate. I didn't even need to be desperate in my situation. I was desperate for success. I was desperate for wanting this to work, knowing that this could be something huge, knowing this could change my life. And I had to change that energy. I had to start to learn to come from a place of expectation that because I was taking those actions that I was supposed to do, this was going to go perfectly. And starting to really think and live in that kind of world that we talk about where you're just like, everything works out perfectly. I'm so grateful and happy that every action that I take, everything my hands touch turns to gold. That sounds so fluffy, And to me, years ago, that sounded so like, okay, yeah, sure. I'd roll my eyes at that, right? But it's so true. So we want to get into this training tonight to share with you guys really prepping yourself. What is that priming for success? What is the importance of an emotional and actually a physical warm up to get you to up level in network marketing? Because no matter where you are right now, maybe you're sitting at the same rank for years. Maybe you're in that momentum like Peg and Danny, and you're just going, no matter where you are, you have to be in an emotional and physical state to sustain that or to up level that, right? So we want to get you to that next level. It doesn't mean your next rank. It doesn't mean anything like that. What's your next level? What are you going to bring? What can you bring in 2024 that you've already promised yourself? But how do we get you to that part? So it's going to move our videos here. The concept of warming up both physically and emotionally before diving into your daily routine. So we know that we have taught so much on the 5/5. Paul does a great job at it. Danny does a great job at sharing the 5/5. We can, again, go into that. Maybe we'll do that on an Empower Hour, is go really deep into the 5/5. But just like athletes warm up to prevent injury and enhance their performance, we can benefit from a warm up and optimize our mindset and energy levels. And have you done that, right? Do you stop and do that? Do you stop before you're about to pick up that phone and say, you know what? This is going to be a great call. The result of this is going to be fantastic. This is going to be the best call ever. This person is going to be so excited. They're going to feel my energy. They're going to be as excited as I was. Do you go with that? Or are you like, I don't know if I'm going to know what to say. Maybe I'm bringing on another person onto the call and maybe they're going to say the wrong thing. And how do I even introduce them? And calm yourself, just like an athlete would. Calm yourself. Visualize what that whole conversation is going to look like. And we're going to get into that coming up here. Goals of the presentation, the phone call, the message, even if it's a Facebook message, you'll understand the importance of a warm-up and the importance of developing that positive expectation, that positive energy, that flow, that vibration, that we all know that even if it's something that seems or sounds foreign to us, it's really the best way to operate in business. And you'll leave with an action plan today that we're going to give you, that Peg's going to go over at the end, just to really help you with some tools for success. Paul, I'll throw it to you first as we kind of go into the call, and we'll get into the next slides.
Sure. Hi, everybody. So a couple of things I want to mention. It's, I know that we kind of celebrated Danny and Peg today because they're really doing a lot of recruiting, but what I want to mention is the quality of people that they're recruiting. It's people that, are open to it. We're not trying to coerce people into the business. They're trying to figure out how to make this business work for them. Some of them have experience, some of them don't have experience, but it's who they're recruiting that has changed. And that's a big marker for me as a leader to identify that, who they're bringing into the business. That tells me that there's another confidence level in their ability to reach out to people. So there's growth there. Okay. Even with Danny being in business for 28 years, there's always going to be growth happening. And it's great when we could witness that. So I wanted to commend you guys on that. Number one, I guess I pissed off Peg because she's already gone. The other thing is we talk about this warm up, right? So there's a couple of things of the warm up. I do not like to sit when I'm doing it. Unfortunately, when you do Zoom, you have no choice. But when you're doing a three-way call, I think Peg and I did a three-way call with the one woman who got in, Marley, and I literally was walking during that call, and it changes the energy. I did a post on it a couple of months ago, and it was this picture of this pigeon walking in the snow, and it left all of these marks all over. And that's what you should be doing, because it changes your energy. It changes your center of gravity. It changes your momentum. When you're walking or moving, you feel that energy come through. Here's another thing I want you to think about on not a physical warm-up, but a call warm-up. We want you to get on the phone with people. We want you to talk to them. We want you to get a feel for them, right? We've been using the brag about yourself thing quite a bit lately. Let people talk. But you can use your social media outreaches as your warm-up for your phone calls. So in other words, plan your day. Part of your warm-up is to when you're setting up your routine or setting up your goals, break it down a little bit and say, okay, here's what the people I'm going to call. Here's their contact information. Here's the posting I'm going to do. I'm going to do Facebook. I'm going to do Instagram. I'm going to do LinkedIn. And these are the posts I'm going to do. And go in to do those and do the tasks. You could do it two ways. You could do the hardest tasks first, or you could do the easiest tasks first. You and only you know your personality type. So if you're going to do the easy tasks and the things that are low pressure, do them. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're going to call people, I do not want you to call less than 5. Why? Because the first 3 are not going to be as good as the last 2. Okay? And you can always call the first 3 over again, but you're going to have a certain warm up, the way you talk, and you may stutter over your words a little bit or feel a little bit awkward. You got to kind of get into a groove a little bit, and that's part of your warm up. And your warm up is not calling me and role playing. Role playing is okay, but nothing beats just having an honest conversation. And if you get in over your head and you feel like you're drowning, ask a question. Ask that person to talk about themselves. Ask them, what did they think about what you just said? Or what did they think about the video you just sent them? How about asking them how they feel? And what are some of the challenges and some of the things that excite them about what you're talking about? Don't be afraid for them to tell you, I'm not interested, Danny, and I told you 5 times I'm not interested, and we're still on the phone. You got to get to a no faster than you get to a yes, so you could put that person to the side and re-incubate them later. Okay? Some of you hang on to what you know is a no, but you're pretending this person is somewhat interested because they're polite enough to get back to you. So to recap what I just spoke about, physically warm up, do your calls in a standing position or walking around, and then warm up with your social media posting, getting back and forth to your comments, but you must end it with getting on the phone with people. I try to speak to at least 3 people on the phone every day. Angel, I called you the other day. I was talking to Victor. Victor was talking about you. I said, oh, let me get Angel on the phone. It was purely nothing about recruiting the guy. He was doing something. He's writing a book. He wants our opinion on the book. He wanted Angel's opinion on the book, got Angel on the phone. It was an amazing call. Okay? That's one of my calls for that day. That was one of my 3 calls with people who are in the business and building the business. What may happen from that? I don't know, but odds are so far, when those people start looking for an opportunity or for whatever reason, I know my phone's going to ring. Danny.
Yes, sir. You there? Hello?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can
We
hear
hear you
you.
loud and clear.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to add something. You were talking about confidence when people are prospecting. The biggest thing that I see in the past, people going, let's say you're at level A, reaching down to B, C's, and D's because you feel easier to speak to them. And then what happens is you feel confident speaking to them, but they're not highly interested in what you're doing, and you're spending time with them, trying to prospect them, trying to get them involved in the business. I always try to reach out to people that are, smarter than me, better than me, make more money than me. As I always say, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Well, when you're prospecting, you want to reach out to people that are better than you, that are have earned more money than you, that have done this longer than you, because that's how you're going to get better. And if they say no, you're still going to get better because your confidence level is going to be up because you're talking to them. So I just want to add that to you.
That was perfect. And I think that Graham said it great on our call on Saturday when he said he wants to be in a room of 10 people and be the 11th smartest person in that room. And that's so true, right? We want to be surrounding ourselves. And that's why we do this call as well. There's so much feedback. And if you want to raise your hand, just like Danny did, raise your hand, come on in, share. And Danny, that was great. We're going to talk
funny.
about...
I'm sorry. I didn't raise my hand. I was just adjusting my phone.
Oh, at least there wasn't balloons this time, Danny.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So we're going to talk about the physical warm-up. Like, we're actually going to talk about how to get yourself prepped. And yes, does this add in a little bit more into your DMO? Does this cause a little bit more sacrifice of time or a little bit more prep time? I promise you that the benefits of this right here will so increase the volume of production and multiply your success in a way that you're just going to be it's almost like the miracle little sprinkle you can put onto your DMO. So really take this seriously. So the physical warm up, it doesn't mean that you need to go out and do a 2-3 mile run, but athletes warm up to avoid injuries, and so do you. And we want to help you to avoid the burnout. Paul and I were on a Zoom today with a woman from Mexico. She was one of the top income earners in a different company, and she's taking a look at this now, and pretty sure she's going to be in with us. But that was her comment. I burnt myself out. I was a salesperson and I burnt out. How do you avoid that burnout, especially if you're a go-getter, right? If you're like, I know how to talk to people, I know how to share this, I know how to do this. How can you avoid that burnout? Or how can you avoid the burnout of maybe failure after failure after failure? And you're maybe sitting at your 57th failure and number 58 is going to be your success, but you're so burnt out, you don't even know what to do or how to push forward. Take mental breaks during your day. Depending on how long you're doing this, we recommend the 30-60 minutes a day. This is going to add on probably another 10 or 15, to be honest, guys, just to be able to do this stuff. But take a mental break, even if it's 2 minutes. If you just need to stop and be like, okay, I just need to stop and take a break or walk away or, get outside for a minute, that's fine. Work in blocks. I love chunking out your day in blocks, especially when I was doing this. I was a mom of 2 young kids, right? And now they're older. One's, almost 18 and the other's 11, almost 12. But when they were younger, I had to block out my time because I couldn't just work as much as I wanted to. They needed me, right? Those demands are on your life, and you have that with your spouse, you have that with your family, you have that with your other job that you're doing, your 9 to 5, right? So work in blocks. And when you're done that block, stop and walk away. Don't allow the stress of I didn't do enough, or I should have done more, or there was still one more person I needed to reach out to. Stop and put that into the next block of time that you work. Create balance. And like I just said, with your family, with your hobbies, with the things you love to do, create a balance, but make sure that your DMO is in that balance, because we tend to, especially in the summer, go cabin life and family and vacationing and fun, right? That becomes our balance, but we need to put the work into the balance. So make sure that you're putting that in and taking that time that you take that action and that sacrifice. It pays off so much because you're putting the intention into the positivity of what you're doing, right? You're putting that action into the vision that you're creating for your life and your business. Sleep importance, of course, is huge. Making sure that you only know your body enough. I figured out my body needs 7 hours of sleep. There's nothing less that I can do. If I do less, then I'm screwed, right? We all know our own bodies. Some people can function on 4 or 5 hours. Great, good for you. But me, I'm 7. Lean on your team. Again, with Paul and I especially, and those of you who are on our team, and I know that this is open to all network marketers, but be that leader that you allow your team to use your time. If you have a little bit of extra time, allow them to use that. Allow them to use your time to be able to contact their people, to be able to say, hey, I've got this great person. I just don't have the time. I'm working my job. I've got this going on. Could you guys reach out to them? Be available for that, or look to somebody who is available for that. Boost your energy before you pick up the phone or you message, whether that's the physical part. We're going to get a little bit more into that. This kind of goes along into a little bit more instructional, and do your affirmations multiple times a day. Like really start to build yourself up. Get excited. This is exciting. How blessed are we that we get to do this as a business opportunity and a side income? And if it does turn into even half of your goals that you have set, how does that feel, right? Paul, I'll turn it over to you for the next one, and then Peg for the next one. The throwing the norm off, Peg, if you don't know what I mean by that, let me know. But
Well, look, bottom line is take this analogy to heart, because I think a lot of you put so much pressure on yourselves, and your first thought is, oh my God, this is not working for me. I haven't had the success that I want yet. And we live in that zone. And the more you live in that zone, I mean, think about somebody who's trained their whole life to Olympics. You know the story about Jesse Owens, the runner, where his running shoes were stolen at the Olympics, and he wore 2 mismatched shoes that he found in the garbage, and he still won the gold, right? And so many of us, if we don't have the right app or we don't have the right pencil, we're not going to be able to make those phone calls. So where does that desire and where is that prep coming into play to give you that motivation to get you over the little things. If you're looking at all those little things, or you're constantly not managing the expectation of how do you feel when you're doing this? Because if you feel you're behind the 8 ball, or you're breathing heavy, and you know, oh my God, here we go, you gotta do the work. That's what's holding you back. None of you are any worse or any better than anyone else on this call. And the more you listen to this stuff, and the more you start to believe it, and more you start to understand it, oh my God, all of a sudden your prospects are better quality. Your prospects are saying yes more than they're saying no, right? Because we're chasing after the people, or your customers are saying yes, or they're buying 2 products instead of 1. Everything changes, and it will change quickly, because we stay in that rut, and it was so hard to get across. And this is why I think some of these trainings are so valuable, because it's not A plus B equals C. Do this, use this script, make sure you post this at 7:30 in the morning, then post again at 4:30, because that's when people know. Once you make that decision, and once things start to optimize for you, and you see things clearer, everything gets better. And it happens like that. That's where we get the overnight success thing from, right? It's practice, 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 practice. But really, it becomes belief, 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 belief success. There are people uglier than you, worse personalities than you, less skill set than you, and they're doing just fine. There are people that bother us when we see them, because we're like, oh my God, this person just doesn't have a clue. And guess what? That's their success story. They don't have a clue that they're doing everything wrong. And the fact that they don't think that, it's not cumbersome to them. And the people just see the potential, right? They see the energy. They see it's not, we think so much about, when do I talk about Somaderm? And then from Somaderm, I want to talk about the Triangle T. And then I think this person, because of a post I saw them do 3 years ago, that they had a back pain, or they were picking up their dog. And, I think that the AWE will be good for them. No, you don't have the right to make any of those assumptions. You do have the right. And Angel, you tell me if I'm wrong today with Kate on the phone today, that woman, Kate in Mexico, right? We did the brag on yourself, tell us. And she was willing to do it. And we found out she was the #1 earner in Canada for this company. Okay. And she was burnt out. But we also found out that she was burnt out because she wasn't following systems, and she wasn't allowing her people to duplicate or to follow what she's doing. In fact, even John Melton today did a really good post today, and he talked about how you must believe in the power of duplicating. And if he doesn't do a 3-way call, he gets somebody else, he puts them in, he does the ATM, he puts everyone in his business. And I do the same thing. Let's get us up. Peg, how many times did I tell you? Yeah, put us on a group text. And most of the time your answer is, Paul, you're already in a group text with this person. But the point is that that's the system. People will do what you do, and they'll do what you don't do. And if you don't start doing that, 2.5 years from now, you'll either quit, or you'll be in another company, but you're doing the same thing over and over again and not allowing your people to duplicate. You could coach, train, pat people on the head, pat them on the butt, but until they start doing those things and their people start to duplicate, then you know they got it. What she was doing, and she's a very, very smart woman, she was closing everything for everybody. And she got exhausted. And guess what? She would have probably been 3 to 4 times bigger than she was if she allowed those people to follow those systems. Guess what we have here, even though many of you don't follow them? We have great systems. We have 5/5, right? We have texting to text SMS programs. We have the app. We have so much that people can do. Don't tell them what the product's about. Send them a video, right? When your people start to do that, their people are going to start to do that. So usually your biggest, toughest challenges are your existing people that have already created bad habits. Your greatest opportunity for your old people and your new people is to start them out correctly following systems. They should warm up, they should get ready to what they have to do, and then go into the groove. right? But I think what we're talking about tonight, because I kind of got off topic there a little bit, my ADD kicked in, is that you got to get ready. You got to warm up. You got to psych yourself out. There's but more than just a physical warm up. You got to get excited about it. You ever see football players when I used to hit myself in the head with my helmet, like hit my helmet like really hard. Like a lot of guys do that. We used to literally hit our helmets together, hit our shoulder pads together to get psyched up for what we were going to do next. You need to do that in this game.
Mm-hmm. That's
Go
an
ahead.
energy exchange as well, right? Like that's that energy, that's that pent up energy. You're all feeling it and you're feeding off of each other for sure. And
Right.
definitely, I think lean into your upline or your team for that as well, right? Like, hey, I'm about to go on a 90-day run here. Guys, I need your support. I need you to check in with me every single day. I need you to like fire me up. Like, let's connect. When you feel that energy from each other, it changes everything. Peg, I want to throw the next one to you because it says there that personal development becomes a must in your day and not an option. And I know you are dedicated to your personal development every single day. It's a part of your routine that you just don't let go. So talk about that and how I feel like probably that wasn't your life before. Like it wasn't, like it was, something that you had to fit in and make a priority and talk about how that's changed for you.
Yeah, thanks, Angel. I just want to say what Paul was saying, that none of us are any different from anyone else. And I think it's so true. Everyone here deserves to be able to create and is capable of creating the life of their dreams. Right. And paying attention to getting on calls like this and staying close to the fire increases that belief. Right. It does that. It does that for me all the time. It's like it draws me in. And the personal development for me was something that I did always really enjoy it. I remember my husband probably 10 years ago being like, boy, you're gonna be up on a stage someday talking. And I was like, ha 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 ha. And then I turn around and recently I'm asked to be a speaker. So that's just crazy. But personal development for me, becoming the person that I need to be, because if I had become a leader with a team that I have now 5 years ago, when I wasn't so I think diving so deeply into personal development, I wouldn't have been ready. I would have doubted myself. I wouldn't have felt that I could do it. And now when I am learning, when I'm doing personal development, it's not just for me. I'm always thinking, who can I help with this? I'm always thinking, who can I teach this to? How can I teach this? How can I share this message in my, like I'm reading the Miracle Morning right now. And I'm underlining like content. I love being able to share that with people. So I think it really is, it's one of the most important things for me. It is a must. It is a must. And if I don't have time to read, I remember if I don't have time to read, I'm listening to something. And the next thing, and you can, maybe I'm on the right track, Angel, with throwing off your norm, right? It's the pattern that you settle into. I believe you need that pattern interrupt, and you need to be able to, your subconscious is very comfortable with your norm. Your subconscious is very comfortable with where you're at right now. And when you say an affirmation for the first time of something that's a big dream, that's really stretching your subconscious is going to go, no, 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 no. Just go back down. This is not where we're going. But you're training every time you say it. You're training your subconscious, and it's just like listening to an ad. When you hear it the 12th or 20th time, you're like, oh, maybe I should look at that. Maybe that is something I need, right? Your subconscious just starts to accept it. So, that's another big thing for me is affirmations along with the personal development.
I think that's perfect. And you got it 100% right. Like one time years and years and years ago when I had started and I was combining digital marketing with network marketing, the person who was kind of mentoring me said, do something that throws your day off. Go to a movie in the middle of the day. go take the kids to the park and just have a fun day, even though in your mind you feel like you need to be working and you should be doing this. And Danny, I actually want to throw it to you because I love that you go golfing. And like you just go and you do this thing you love. And yes, it's a networking time as well, right? Like I know that you get to like kind of like meet people and talk to people, but you do that in the middle of a work day. And I love that. So what does that do for you to rejuvenate you, to rejuvenate your business and your own mindset?
Well, it rejuvenates, exactly right. It rejuvenates my mindset, my belief level. We all need time for ourselves, whatever you do. I golf, I surf, I snowboard. But obviously, I can't do all three at the same time. I used to be able to do all three in California at the same time, which I have done before. But anyway, a lot of things it does. First off, being outside, playing golf, meeting people. A lot of times I'll go play golf by myself so I can meet other people. So I have people to talk to. And by the way, when I'm there, it's for me first, but if the conversations comes up and, I might go into what I do, things like that. But I just think we need an out. We need to be able to recharge ourselves. You know, Paul made a post the other day about our call at midnight, and somebody made a comment. I don't exactly remember it, but they said, "Oh, I was sleeping. I was recharging myself." Well, I mean, that's part of it, but you also, again, like I've said in the past, the business is physically part-time, mentally full-time, and you always have to, whatever you're doing, if you want to succeed in this business, you always have to have your business part of your life. So again, this morning, like 4 o'clock or actually about 3 o'clock this morning, neighbor's dog woke me up. I got on my phone and I saw his messages from my new prospect from Japan. So I started chatting with him because my mindset is always about my business. I don't have to think twice about it. It's there. So whatever you like to do to get out and relax or whatever, do it. But maybe I'm kind of saying in an oxymoron way, but always keep your business on your mind, even when you're relaxing. That's how you're going to succeed in this. So there you go.
No, I love that. That's perfect. Thank you for that. We're going to talk about just techniques for a physical warm up, like actually how to physically warm yourself up for your daily routine in network marketing. Do some stretching, get around. Like Paul said, walking on calls. I do the same thing. Sometimes I picture like a trench in my living room to kitchen that probably could have been made by now because of how I pace back and forth. Just simple stretches, just get yourself going, right? Get that energy flowing. Breathing exercises are huge. And we talk about the 4-4 breathing technique. I think it's a military technique. I don't even know, but you breathe in for 4, you hold in for 4, and you release for 4. And so when you get into that flow, you're just putting yourself into a state of actual total relaxation and connecting to yourself, right? So really try to practice that. Short physical activities. I used to, and I don't anymore, I'll be honest. I used to have every single hour of my day, there was something really quick that my phone would alert me to do. And whether it was quick jumping jacks or like running up the stairs or even like just doing like lymph node exercises where you can just like bounce and like get your body going. Do that. And no matter what you're doing, and if you're working your regular job 9 to 5, it's good to have these little physical, keep your energy going, right? Keep that high vibe going. We all know we fall into the low vibe very easily. We can easily let our mind take over us. Even Peg, as soon as I called you today, I was like, oh, my brain isn't working today. I don't feel creative. And what is that doing? I'm putting out all of the negative stuff and I should just be shutting up about that, right? But instead I'm venting and letting it go. So this isn't something that you learn once and it's just like you're there all the time. It's a constant reminder that you have to stay in the state of flow and vibrational highness. Visualize everything working out perfectly. Every single phone call, every single message, every single group chat. If you're adding the person to a group, if you're inviting them to the Wednesday call, the Monday call, the Tuesday call, whatever you're doing, envision it working out perfectly for you and for them. And just trust the process that bringing people into this, and the people that you are being led to and the people that are raising their hand to you are meant to connect with you. There's a reason for this. There's nothing by coincidence. And if we believe that everything is by design and that we can create anything, then we know that the people who are coming into our life are meant to be there, right? And you're the right leader for them. You're the right person for them. If they say yes to you and yes, I want to hear more, or yes, hey, I love that post you did, or why do you look so great, or hey, you lost some weight, that's awesome, what are you doing? They're the right you're the right person to help them to get to that success level that they want to have, because they're already saying, hey, you did something that I want to understand how you did it. Paul, thoughts on this screen here?
Well, blood flow, right? So we know that money is like blood, right? If it doesn't flow, it gets coagulated and it dies. When you're going to do something like this, you gotta raise your temperature. You have to have a physiological response. And doing a little bit of this, first of all, you should be doing it anyway. Like, guys, you're in a health and wellness company. And if you're in a health and wellness company and you're using any one of our products, a little bit of this is important. And it will also give you better belief. So I'm looking for what's the added bonus of doing this? Because if I keep putting pressure on you to say, get you ready to make your phone call, get you ready to make your phone call, and I know you don't want to make that phone call to begin with, I'd rather focus on why are some of the other benefits. Live and believe what you're doing. Right? I know I make sure to go to the gym every single day to do something, physical, because it's the business I'm in. It's my business. And if I'm going to recommend to people products in the health and wellness space, I should be as good as I can be. Okay, depending on my time and building of the business. It's not absolutely necessary, but do you believe what you're doing? Here's the other thing, too. This short physical activity has a mental effect as well as a physical effect. And I think the mental effect is probably more so important than anything else. Danny, you're going to relate to this. I was a pretty decent golfer myself, and every golfer would visualize his shot. You literally walk up from behind the ball, and before you even take your stance behind the ball, you're going to visualize the club striking the ball, the flight path of the ball leaving the face of the club, traveling through the air, and landing where you want it to land. And on top of that, when that ball finally lands, how many times is it going to bounce and where's it going to roll to? What kind of carry are you going to get? If you're hitting into the green, where's it going to hit the green and where's it going to roll to so it gets as close to the hole as possible, if not in the hole. In fact, there are golfers that whenever they're visualizing their shot to the green are picturing the ball going in the hole. That's why you'll see a guy, some of these pros that could hit within 2 to 3 feet of the pin on a regular basis. If you've ever been to the driving range on a golf course when pros are playing and you watch them practice hitting balls on the range and you see the accuracy of what these guys can hit the ball, you will realize what's possible. Same thing with a quarterback he's under a lot of pressure and he steps back into the pocket and he releases that ball and he's getting it right into the arms of a receiver who is moving at probably about 20 miles an hour running to that ball. So there's a visualization to that. Your visualization can't be, oh, this person's not going to like it. They're probably going to be negative with me. They're going to tell me they're not interested. If you visualize that, it's what you're going to get. Same way, if you lead with product, you're going to get a customer-driven response. If you lead with the business, you're going to get a business-type response. The reason most of you don't build with the business-type response is you do get more no's with a business response when you first start than a product response. Why? Because you did not set up the prospect properly. It's a lot. People will buy stuff every day. People will not start a business every single day. So you got to make sure that when you're leading with the business, you've already set that person up or know that they're looking for some sort of additional income or additional business. So those of you who are struggling and you're visualizing getting more distributors, right? You're leaving out the most important thing to visualize. Who is the person on the other end of the phone? So think about it. We buy products every single day. We don't join businesses every single day. So there's a difference to that approach. Does that make sense at all? right? I don't know if you've ever even thought about it that way. But of course, your target is smaller when you're promoting the business. But if you are constantly promoting that you are a business startup expert, okay? In fact, when I was on Clubhouse, that was my thing. I was a business startup expert. The reason is you become the person people will look to when they are looking to start a business, right? So it's very difficult to change gears because you did a post when you've been doing a lot of stuff purely on product. And then all of a sudden you want to start promoting business and you're wondering why you're hitting a brick wall. You're hitting a brick wall because the target is much different, right? A general practitioner doctor will easily get patients than an oncologist. In fact, an oncologist usually gets their patients referred to by a GP. Why? Because the GP can't handle it, right? So it's a smaller target. So how are you going to feed that business, right? How are you going to feed that business? Most people are looking for, in fact, when people suspect they have a disease, the first person they go to is, let me go see my doctor. They don't go right to an oncologist or a liver expert or a skin expert. They go, hey, doc, what is this? Because it's gotten bigger in the last 24 hours. And I think it's got its own, area code. So you're going to go to the GP and the GP is going to refer you to a specialist. And that's what you do in building a business funnel versus building a product funnel. Product funnel is easy, guys. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a great thing. In fact, you should have more customers than you should have business partners. But the reason business partners are such a challenge, it's because it's a smaller target and you're not set up to hit it. You haven't practiced enough. You haven't hit enough golf balls into a 2-foot radius from 80 yards. Okay. So the other thing is the deep breathing. Guys, you know what? If you do this, tap underneath your lower lip. Do it with me, guys. It's not a joke. I'm not gonna make fun of everybody. It's gonna help you release dopamine. In fact, when you're on a call, right? Start tapping this area right before you get on a call. If you get challenged, tap it. You're going to release dopamine. If you get stressed, the solar plexus right here, tap on your solar plexus. When you feel anxiety, just tap here. It's going to be a physiological response to help you reduce that stress and anxiety. Now, you're going to hear me tap at my microphone, but the point is that if the person says, what's that? Tell them, right? Tell them. So there's a couple of things we could do, but if we don't understand the physical aspects of what we're trying to accomplish and what you have to prep for physically to do it. And I know this may seem frou-frou or woo-woo or whatever you guys call it, or zen, but it works. It absolutely positively works, right? Get yourself in the right mindset. Not just us saying rah, rah, not Tony Robbins yelling in your ear, not some great quote that Angel or Peg comes up with. It's really just a matter of take that deep breath, right? Bring that positive energy in. Angel, you said something really great. You just made me realize when we were doing that, hitting each other in the head with the helmets and hitting each other on the shoulder with the shoulder, we were exchanging energy, right? And never even put 2 and 2 together from my high school days to now that's what we were doing. Tapping is, I wasn't going to get too deep into tapping, Lynn, but it's the basis of tapping. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. I'm sorry. I'm rambling tonight. I hope it's good.
No, it's great. And I think we've got 3 more slides, and I really want to get to Peg giving us the action steps.
I'm shutting up. I'm muting up, and I'm not going to.
No. Let's talk about the emotional warm up though too, right? But I think we covered a lot of this in discussing the physical. I mean, we talked about this, the mental priming, preparing yourself, getting yourself emotionally happy, getting yourself into that space. And honestly, for myself, there is no negativity that can exist when you're grateful. So if you are practicing gratitude, or if you're feeling negative, go into a space of gratitude. Negativity cannot exist in that space. So if you're sitting there going, wow, I'm so grateful that I've got my house, I've got my family, I've got my kids, I've got this, I've got that, I'm healthy, I'm happy. There is, you can't, that those 2 things can't coexist, right? So stress reduction, make sure you're reducing your stress. If we live in that high cortisol, oh, I'm stressed because I got to work my business, but I also have my career, but I also have my family, and I also have this, and ooh, they're pulling at me. And if I say I want to go work my business, somebody's going to pull at me there. You've got to reduce that stress and figure out what it is for you. Maybe it's a conversation with somebody that you're living with that you can say, hey, I'm really passionate about this. It's actually more of a hobby and a passion than it is a business, but I know it's going to turn into an incredible income, but I'm really fired up about it. And I know I can do great things. Can I have an hour to myself every single day? You know, if you're a parent and you can ask that person to relieve that stress or whatever that is, have conversations with people where they understand where you're coming from too. Recognize their emotions and their maybe hesitancy, or maybe what they're creating more more stress for you, and have those conversations. I definitely had to do that in my past. It was something that absolutely had to be a conversation. Techniques for a positive warm up. We know positive affirmations, right? I've got decrees and declarations I'm totally would love to share with you guys. It's maybe a little bit more from a biblical mindset than other people might be, but it's what I do every single day. Telling yourself I'm capable of achieving my goals. I'm a successful and effective communicator. Imagine if you told yourself that before the next message you sent out or the next post you did. People love me. People are so gravitated towards me. I'm a magnet for amazing people. You know, they just love me. I don't know why my content is so successful, but they just love it. Imagine if you just told yourself that every single day before everything you did. Visualization is huge, but it's not just visualizing, guys. It's visualizing with feeling. So when you think of what you would love your business to look like, what feeling are you attaching to that? And my very first course I took with Ray Higdon, he wanted us to get so specific down to the knobs on the cupboards in my kitchen, right? And down to the feeling of, okay, you're taking that vacation. What does your family feel? What do your kids feel? What does it feel like to have people acknowledge that you did what you said you were going to do and they're proud of you? What does that actually feel like, right? So don't just think of I got to see this, and I know that in order to be diamond, I need to be this, and I've got to have this volume. What does it actually feel like? What does it feel like when you hit that next rank? Don't think ahead to the end. What does the next level feel like? And how do you celebrate that? And then again, gratitude journaling. Write down things you're grateful for every single time that negative little incessant mindset comes into your mind. Be grateful and remember those words that I just said. Negativity cannot exist where there is gratitude. So if you know you're feeling negative, if you're like me today, where I'm saying to Peg, oh, I have no creativity today, my brain is mush, I'm feeling like I just have nothing to give. I shouldn't have been saying that. I should have been like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that we are going to do this call tonight. It's going to be amazing. People are going to love it. People are going to get success from it, right? Like that's what I should be saying. And I'm just being a little bit vulnerable right now to say that I wasn't feeling that way 3 hours ago, right? I was like, do I have anything to deliver tonight? And then, you know, of course, you get into the right mindset and this is what happens. And it's a training that I do believe will change people's lives. I want to get into, Peg, I'm going to go right into the action steps because I don't think we need these two slides that I did there. And I want you to get into your lifesavers because I loved what you shared with me earlier today about reading your new book and what it's doing for you. And so these are action steps, guys. This is how you can now implement what we're saying and what we're, you know, I really hope that if there's anything that you take action in this summer, it's this training right here because it really will change everything. So go ahead, Peg.
Well, yeah, so I just started reading this book, and it's funny because I told Paul before we started, I knew of this book for years, but I never bought it and started reading it because I felt like I do so much in the morning. I felt like I could write the book, but I realized I was like, okay, there's millions of copies of this book sold. I need to learn exactly, you know, how to fine tune it. So It's written by Hal Elrod.
Elrod, yeah.
And yes, and so he calls it the lifesavers. So the S is for silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribbling. So the silence, I do this. I take time every morning when I first get up to have purposeful, peaceful silence. And typically it involves me kind of reviewing what my intentions are and then listening, just listening to see what comes to me, right? And it's really, sometimes it's really incredible. I always have this next to me everywhere, every day. I carry it from room to room because I'm always jotting things down that come to me, but it's particularly then in the morning. And the affirmations, I have some things that I say to myself that are not particularly hard to believe. I say that I surround myself with can-do people. I prioritize things that draw me, that pull me toward my vision. Right. These are things that I'm reminding myself of. This is what I do. This is what I'm focused on. I never settle. Right. And so those are great affirmations for me. Think of what you want. Where is it that you want to go? And what is it that you see your most successful or your favorite version of yourself saying to yourself about yourself? Right. Visualization, like Angel said, seeing yourself in that place that you want to be. I could take you through the home that I want to live in the islands, because I've been there and walked around it so much. It doesn't exist yet, but I've walked around it so much in my mind. And exercise that, getting that, especially as Paul said, if you're in a health and wellness company, you want to have that wellness attraction, right? You need to be your best version of yourself in your wellness. So getting that exercise and starting your day like that, it just gets those endorphins going. It gets your blood moving and gets you excited for the day. Reading, I think, is really important. Sometimes I don't spend enough time on that. I'll click on a YouTube instead, but right now I'm reading and I've got my pen in my hand and I'm underlining and drawing lines on the side and making notes all through this book as I'm just starting. I'm really like in the first, 12 pages. But it's learning from the experts, right? There are people who spent a lot of time learning and put all this stuff together in a book for you. So why not learn from them, right? And scribbling. And this, to me, like I said, is my biggest thing. Just keeping track of the things that I'm grateful for. I'll start out every morning. I'll put what I'm grateful for in there, my gratitude journal, and keeping, gaining insights as you're listening in silence. What insights come to you? What are your goals? What are your intentions? What's your progress? Like, if I look back to this, I don't know when this particular, like I said, I've always got one of these. But if I look back maybe 3 journals, I would learn a lot about myself. Right? Where I was at, maybe I would learn like, wow, why don't I do that? Why don't I do that anymore? Or I'd be like, wow, I've really, really, really come a long way. And I feel like that's what I usually see. Like, wow, look at what I was afraid of then. Look at what I was worried about then. And now I do see things as everything's going to work out. So back to you, Angel. So practice these.
Absolutely. And I think that was just such great action steps. And I love how you shared what you do. And I wrote down, I'm going to be visiting Peg in her island home, because when you started to even just say that you could describe it, it's like I started to picture it, right? I'm like, ooh, Peg's island home, right, in Dominican, and we're gonna go and visit her. We're gonna so that is huge. And it's that emotional attachment. So you can attach yourself to your visualizations and what you want to create, but let's attach yourself to who are 5 people tonight that you can say, I reached out to them, they've kind of ghosted me. Who are 5 people that you could go back to with a different energy and say, hey, I just wanted to connect again. I was just on a great call. And, there's just something about you that I know that this product is great for. I know that this business is great for. I need to reconnect with you. It was just a nudge that I had that I need to do this. Would love to connect again. Would love to kind of find out where you're at now, how I can help you. Let's have another conversation. Let's reconnect, right? When you come in with a different energy, somebody's going to receive it differently, especially if you know that you came in with a different energy. I want to talk quickly too. Paul, you had mentioned earlier in the call about doing your low pressure stuff before your high pressure stuff. And I identified something in myself that I actually put my high pressure stuff way ahead of my low pressure stuff. And because my high pressure stuff becomes so important, I don't get my low pressure stuff done every single day. And that for me was like it's good that I put like the high pressure stuff has to get done, but the low pressure stuff still has to get done. So that was a really interesting thing for me where I think I put the hard before the easy. And that for me is like, it's a personality thing that I identified in myself where it's like, why am I avoiding the easy? When the easy is easy, why am I doing the hard before the easy? So I don't even know what that means, but I just wanted to say that because I had made a note about it. And I'm like, why am I that way?
Mhm.
So
Well,
it's
also,
interesting.
like if I, let's say if I was coaching you right now, so let's do like a live pseudo
Yeah,
coaching session,
sure.
right? So my first question would be, when you're doing those harder tasks first, are they admin related, like things you need to get done, eat the frog, or are they prospecting related? Because there are certain people who, so if it's prospect related, would you do the easy first and the hard second? Meaning, let's say picking up the phone seems to be the hardest thing for 99% of the people in network marketing, including me, right? It does get easier over time. So my first question to you would be in this pseudo coaching session is, are we talking about managing your team and managing your people and serving your people on the hard first versus easy, or on your prospecting work? And I know you're doing both.
No, it's definitely managing the team.
Right.
I put team management and team tasks before prospecting.
So that's a leadership skill, like that I think is admirable and something I would continue to encourage, right?
Okay.
Because you're going to know that the biggest fires you're going to put out first. I'll give people the example. Was it managing Suresh's
Yeah.
webinar and all of that stuff versus the flyer, right? The infamous flyer that we've
Right.
been joking about
Yeah.
for a couple of
Yeah.
days, right?
Yeah.
Because one, part of that leadership thing is, the potential outcome and the results that the webinar would generate versus we know the limited results a flyer sitting on a desk somewhere in some
Right.
tanning salon
Right.
is really not good. So that's triage, right? So you will triage yourself, right? You may want to do, let's go to prospecting now. Prospecting, what I mean, the easy stuff first would be your social media posting, comments, everything
Mhm.
else. Get in the groove of
That's easier.
interacting with
Yeah.
people, like your exposure and your step 2 and step 3 in your 5/5, which is your conversations and your exposures, right? So if you do a couple of conversations and exposures before you actually pick up the phone, right? In fact, I just realized something. There's a guy on Facebook that reached out to me and said, "Hey, man, I really want to learn more about what you're doing. We got to talk about that." I would use it as a live result right now, but I don't think I can. So that call. So let's say you have. I'm doing triage now on my prospecting work. It's conversations and exposures, sending videos and responding to conversations. Then I know I want to make 3 to 5 phone calls a day. One phone call is this guy, right? I forgot his name. And he texted me and said, "Hey, watched your video, saw you live. I want to know what you guys are doing." It was from that purple flyer that I made, right?
Right.
That's the first call I would make. Why? Because I know I have an open audience. Remember, guys, I used to say about it's easier to invite a girl to the prom that filled out that little form. Do you like me? Check one box, yes or no, right? If you have the little piece of paper from grammar school that said, "Yes, I like you," it's a lot easier to go up and ask her to the dance, right? So that guy, I would do that call first. I would do a follow-up call with someone that I had a good call with first on my phone calls. I would leave the cold prospecting to the top level network marketer, or what I would consider the chicken list call. I would leave that to my second or third call when I'm warmed up
Mhm.
and I have some confidence. So set up your triage on your prospecting if you want to do the easy first. If you want to do the hard first, that's a decision you have to make, but it's like playing blackjack. What are you supposed to do when you get a 16 on blackjack? Anybody know? Anybody play blackjack? Feel free to
Hit.
unmute.
Hit.
Okay, most people say hit, right? 90% of the people say hit on 16, right? Hold on. You can, or you could stay on 16 and hope for them to bust. Either way, you can't mix it up. You have to do it the same way every single time. So for the people that believe on hitting on 16, you must hit on 16 that whole session that you're playing for the odds to work in your favor. If you don't hit on 16, right? And when people say, what does the book say? Don't say what the book says, because that the book was written by the casinos, not written by anybody else. But if you don't hit on 16, then don't hit that whole playing session, or don't hit for the rest of your life. That will work in your favor because you got to be consistent. Same thing. If you're going to do your hard work first, eat the frog first, then do it every single time that way. If you go wishy-washy, you're never going to build up the confidence. So first thing is, if you're going to go hard first, then you go easy, or if you're going to go easy first, then go hard, but don't change. You could change after a year or so, but don't change. Thanks, Brooke. I think it is a pretty good call. So does that make sense, Angel? So we talked about, supporting the team or admin style work, and admin's the wrong word, right? And then prospecting. And you could have two different approaches. Maybe your prospecting is easy first, hard second, but your other work, your admin work, is hard first, easy second. And I don't know if your definition of easy, I'm actually live coaching Angel right now, guys. So just, this is how it's done. So you may not be saying easy last, it's you triaged it, and this patient's not going to die. Right. You know what triage is in a hospital or in a war zone, right?
Well, and I was a paralegal for 15 years. I had to prioritize what's the most important every single day, right? So the least important never got completed until we had spare time, which never happened. So that was great for me, because you're exactly right. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, this is the most important, and I prioritize. But when you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing the hardest before the easiest. So I'm thinking, is that wrong? But you totally allowed me to see what I'm doing.
No, it's not wrong, but I also got to know, if you say my arm hurts when I do this, and the idiot doctor's going to say, well, don't do that, right? That's not the point. Dig deeper and find out where it is. And we discovered that that's on your admin side. Now I'm going to ask you the honest question. When you're doing your prospecting, what do you feel you lean more towards right now? Like the
hardest,
work?
Definitely hardest. I love to do the hardest first. I want to go after.
So then your coaching, that I would tell you, don't ever change that.
Yeah.
Unless for some reason, don't get me wrong, it's the way the calls are going. You make 3 calls to the 3 hardest and they're not available. Obviously, pick up the phone, make your other call first.
Yeah.
You also have to do time management. But all things being equal, if you don't have to do time management, you want to consistently do your hard first and then go to the easy. And by the way, guys, if you choose easy first and then hard to warm up, that's absolutely fine too. There's no second guess. Well, Angel does it this way. It doesn't matter how Angel does it. It matters how you do it, and you do it, and you do it consistently. Anybody have any comments or thoughts on that? We're actually 6 minutes over. But the day is flying. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Fastest day.
Anybody have any comments saying or appreciate this new level of training? Diane, yeah, go ahead.
Training is bomb always, but that's beside the point.
Well, we're trying to make it a little better, a little bit deeper, and a little bit more, taking the mystery out, but realizing there is a little mystery, and the mystery is all up in here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I get what Angel's saying, because I kind of work on the same premise. Like I take what I feel is the urgent or the most important, And I try to get that out of the way before I do anything else. But when it comes to prospecting, I flip-flop.
Okay.
I go for the easy one first and then the hard ones. So like, I'm
So here's a little
backwards.
coaching on that. I just gave you the permission that it's absolutely okay to flip-flop on that, but
Mhm.
do it the same way every single time. What happens to us is that we beat ourselves up subconsciously when we do that because we're not really paying attention that it is okay to flip-flop. So that flip-flop you were doing might be part of a blockage because you're not forgiving yourself, or you didn't realize that that was absolutely okay. That was
No,
a
I didn't.
technique. Right. So what happens in our subconscious mind, we're like, oh, I hate prospecting. And that's why I do the easy stuff first, because when I do the other stuff, I do the hard stuff first. This is an inner dialogue that you're not even physically aware of that's happening, that actually builds up those limiting beliefs and builds up those things that I can't do this. So if you now realize that, no, that's absolutely fine, because when you're doing admin and when you're doing prospecting, you have two different techniques and there's a warm-up phase. That's why we thought, and we'll get better at this training over time. I mean, we just literally designed this training, but it's based on a thought process. And how do we make the invisible visible? How do we show you these inner struggles that everybody's having with this business and try to put it into words? And it's not that easy. It's really not that easy. John
No, but
Burton,
you nailed it.
thank you.
did.
Thank you. Well, if it's
Yeah.
good, it's all my idea. If it sucks,
Okay.
Angel, you got to work on this.
It's a good word to parlay on. I wanted to mention in the Marines, we would say, welcome to the suck. And we would say, embrace the suck. So
Right.
a lot of times I would get myself motivated, like you're talking about, just banging the helmets together and then just dive right in it, because there's two things. The definition of bravery is doing something while you're afraid to do it. And the second is my believability in this industry is so high. Just because I'm not a multimillionaire on paper, it's definitely in my mind. And I always think about Danny says, part-time with the business, but full-time in my mind. So I love coming out here and getting on these walks. If I wasn't on this Zoom, I would be contacting people like crazy. So I always appreciate the training. And I think this is a really good training. And you're doing the live training with Angel. I'm benefiting from it. Everybody's benefiting from it. And I didn't pay a dime for it.
Oh no, check your WhatsApp. No, not WhatsApp. I screwed up. Your PayPal. Check your PayPal.
Your PayPal.
So much for spontaneity. All right, guys, I think we got to let you guys go because there is a Gel and Tell going on right now. If you have guests or you just want to see the Gel and Tell, head over there. Thank you so much. There will not be an Empower Hour next week. We're safe to say that, guys, because we'll be in Jamaica.
Yeah, we'll be at the lagoon, so I don't think we're going to be able to.
So you may
handle it.
just see a live from the lagoon.
Yeah.
I'll do a belly flop for everybody.
There we go.
So long, guys. Have
Love
a
you
great night.
guys.
Thank you all. Bye.